Fired up, footballers! We're back here for another episode of Spitting Postgame, talking about the crew and the fire on April 7th. I got my little brother Austin here. I'm James. And we'll dig right into it. Austin, what did you think of the game?
First of all, ice cream nachos, fantastic. Second of all, let's talk about this game.
Yeah.
What I can say about this game is that it's average, mediocre. It didn't give me an ulcer, but it did give me diarrhea. What can I say? The Fire, clearly, they got lucky. They had a lucky break. Stefan, the opposing goalie for the Bees, made a terrible mistake in that game. Right in the beginning, rolls it over to Nikovic. He steals the ball and plants it in.
Yep.
He planted it in, and that was it. It was game over from there. But the thing, what I find it very interesting is that we won that game, but I really do feel like the Bees were the better players overall.
I think he calls them the Bees, by the way, because they're black and yellow. But go on.
Whoa.
Whoa, where are you coming from?
I missed one game and you sent me to the curb? What's this?
I was bringing your replacement, you know?
Do you think I could...
He actually saw the game.
You want back in, bro?
Do you think I could sit back down?
Sure, here you go.
But interesting thoughts there, Austin. Thanks for coming to the game with me, by the way.
Of course, I'm glad to be able to replace Jeffrey.
All right, we'll catch you next time. Any parting thoughts?
Well, that ref, the one at the bottom, the liner,
The linesman?
he
The liner.
stinks.
He stinks.
I hope he gets fired.
Oh,
no.
Oh, wow. Harsh take. Hot take there. But I will add on what Austin said there. The referees yesterday were actually awful to the point where I have a soccer eye, and I saw it, and Austin doesn't really have a soccer eye. He saw it.
Yeah.
Pano has a soccer eye. He saw it to the point where he's kicking over the wall stanchion, and he didn't get carded by the referees because I think the referees knew he was right, and he was furious.
So let's step away from the refs, James. What did you see from the first half?
Well, let's go. We'll start.
What was that formation
We'll
like?
start with the beginning of the formation. The formation was a 5-3-2 with Basti playing in the center back role. Now
Or 3-4-3. I kind of like calling it a 3-4-3 better.
a 3-4-3.
Yeah.
Now that is probably unsustainable as far as going for a long haul of the future. Even for a 4 or 5 game stretch, it's probably unsustainable because they were defending for about 70, 80 minutes, if not all 90.
Yeah.
But they got the result today, and I got to say the lineup decisions, the player selections were correct. He had Connor out on the right flank. He brought Ellis in as that left extra center back. So he had Ellis, Basti, and Kappelhoff. And I got to say, Ellis filled in admirably. It was his best game of the season.
Yeah.
It was a shame for him to come off, I think, around the 55th minute when he took a little bit of a knock. He didn't even want to come off. But Pano was inclined to bring Lillard in, and I was okay with that move too, to see what we can see from Lillard, give him a couple minutes to get going for possibly next game against Laton, and then you could maybe have Lillard, Ellis, and Kappelhoff in that back line, allow Basti to move over and take up for Chani. One other player was Campos. Had a pretty darn good game, and he was very serviceable, did his job, ran and did his job, and they took their lumps there. It created some things. It wasn't perfect, but it allowed them to, a lot more stuff than having 3 central defensive midfielders in that, basically, in the midfield.
I really liked what Pano came out with. First of all, we saw change. We saw something different, which is great.
Huge.
He wasn't stubborn. He didn't try that 4-2-3-1 with the 3 CDMs. Still played all 3 of them. But, I liked seeing change. I mean, he recognized something that needed to be done, and he put the right personnel out there. I liked seeing Drew, Ellis. Ellis worked better. He's much better as a more true center back than he is a wing back.
But good in a 3 center back system.
Campos got back out there again. Alan Gordon.
Alan
Gordon made the
looked
sheet.
good.
And I'm just happy that Pano was coaching. He wasn't stubborn, didn't try the same thing over and over again. Threw something out there, and it helped, and we won. And it was ugly, really ugly. I mean, they had 70%, 65% possession, I think they had.
They were underwater for most of the game.
So, yeah, and I don't think that was by design. I don't think Pano wanted to pack it in and, park the bus and, just
No, that was by design.
That was,
he said it after in a post game. He said it was by design.
Okay.
But the team defended very well in the final third. Sanchez had a fantastic game.
They had 20 shots, only 2 on target, which is pretty impressive. I think they hit the
The woodwork
crossbar
had
like 3 times.
The crossbar had a fantastic game, maybe man of the match.
Crossbar man of the match, exactly.
Besides Sanchez had a very solid game.
Or the
And
ice cream nachos. Man of the
much
match.
better defending in the final third. A lot more ferocious defending, illustrated by the fact that there was 20 shots, only 2 of them on target. They're not counting the ones that hit the woodwork. But still,
it's interesting.
Improvement.
Pano elected to keep Basti back there, and he had like a million clearances. I saw. I mean,
in the last 30 minutes of the game, he had 11 clearances.
Yeah, he was the true sweeper back there. So that's a role you don't
Franz
want.
Beckenbauer.
Yeah, I mean, Pano said it himself. Yeah, we don't want Basti there, but where we are right now, that's where he's going to be playing. So
now.
With the personnel we have on this team, James, we just don't have enough attacking options. So, I mean, a 3-in-the-back system with wingbacks, that might be the formation that we're suited, the best.
Yeah. But does Basti eventually come out of that, and maybe are you allowed to play a Lillard and an Ellis there? And can they cement to make a formidable back line and allow Basti to move up? That would be ideal. Can you bring in another center back eventually? Now, here's the thing. I really liked what I saw from Richard Sanchez yesterday. And I got to say, if they are bringing
Strongest game.
I got to say, if they are bringing Iker Casillas, it's a complete waste of funds. It's a complete waste of funds because you have an MLS-capable goalkeeper in there. Yeah, he's not super confident yet.
You're already writing him as an MLS capable goalie.
He's an MLS.
You seen enough?
He's as good as Matt Lamson is.
Okay.
I think he's as good as Matt Lamson is, and I think he's younger, and I think he has a higher ceiling, and I think he can get better with the more confidence you give him, the more games a minute, the more minutes you give him. You saw his saves. He can make the saves. It's about the small things. It's about knowing when to come out. It's about knowing when to pass the ball. And he had a couple, moments where it was a little tense, but the entire game was tense for the Fire, and they performed, I got to say, admirably throughout. And Pano was tremendous this game. Pano was coaching. Pano was on fire. Pano was lit up. He was very effusive, very strong. And I know Pano's passionate. I know Pano's competitive. But I saw something else from Pano today. I saw a manager. I saw him taking a finally. I feel like he's ascending.
Sometimes it looks like when he talks to some of his players. I said this before. Like when he talks to Dax or Basti, he kind of seems, and it sounds like you're saying he looked strong.
He looked strong
and
with everybody. The entire and so Pano looked really good. And I got to say, Pano's press conferences as of late, the past few. Watch them. Yeah. He's been so brutally and amazingly honest. He's been given very honest assessments of the team that it makes our job easier to know what he's doing, what the team's doing, and to have confidence in Pano because he is seeing the things that we're saying, and to go into seeing things that we're seeing. Pano made all the right changes. His substitutions yesterday, all 3 of them, spot on.
It's interesting. We're giving a lot of compliments to Pano, and rightfully so.
But past 2 games,
reports that the locker room still,
fractured.
I don't know if fractured is the right word. It's just they won. They weren't excited as you should be from a win. And when you win a game like that, listen, defending for 90 minutes is not fun. It is not fun.
Can't do that for a season.
It's unsustainable, and the lads are tired. I mean, you get a lot more tired defending than you do attacking. So it was a gritty, ugly win. Luckily, they stuck it out. Like you said, the MVP might have been the crossbar, or what is it, the Crocus?
The Crocus hand player of the match.
Crocus hand player of the match.
It did go to the goalie Sanchez. Which maybe suggests that, the crossbar was actually helpful. But I think Sanchez was fantastic. I got to say, Gordon, Ellis, Campos, Connor, Sanchez, all had good games. Basti, Dax. Chani had a pretty decent game.
So, I wasn't there, but from what it sounds like, Fire were defending a lot.
Yes.
Worked their butt off.
Yes.
Not much going attacking.
Yes.
What did you see on the Columbus Crew side, James?
Columbus Crew side. Higuain. They are technically astute. They are so much better with the ball at their feet than the Fire, and you could see that because they did have the ball for the majority of the game.
Let me step in. I saw one stat. The top 5 players who touched the ball and who scored. Can you guess the only player in the top 5
for the Fire?
For the Fire. Everyone else was the Crew.
For the Fire, who touched the ball the most? Basti.
Nope.
Sanchez?
Nope. Dax.
Dax McCarty.
Dax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, not terrible.
But anyways, back to the Crew.
So the Crew, They were dangerous all night, but and there was a couple shots that went really, really close. But I got to say, the Fire did a really good job of snuffing them out for the most part. But even still, the game could have very easily been 3-0 to the Crew if their shots just went under.
Yeah, that's...
Then you don't get that one goal, and the Fire are behind.
I saw on Twitter that, people are like, this game could have been 5-1, easily.
To the Crew.
It's the Fire got really lucky. I mean, they
Fire
got really lucky. They
Wounded
played a good
dog.
team. They played a good team. They got 3 points.
They came out like a wounded dog.
So now we have 4 points on this homestand. Well, we're playing Galaxy next week, right?
Huge. Zlatan.
So Zlatan's coming, and same story. We need points there. But, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, if this is the lineup, if this is the personnel that Pano has, I mean, it's incomplete. We do not have enough attacking options to run a 4-2-3-1. We're more defensive team. Like, we have fullbacks, we have some center backs.
Much more defensive team.
So, I mean, this might be what we're seeing for right now until we get, some reinforcements. But, I mean, we need them now. I mean, we're relying on college. Even though I like Collier, I like Campos. I mean, they're kids.
I like them, yeah.
They're kids, but these are our primary attacking threats that we're relying on right now.
And they're kids, and they just came out of college.
Yeah, and just thank God we have Nico.
Meanwhile,
we had one shot on net. I saw that too.
And that was the one that scored. And meanwhile, our attacking replacement for David Akam, Alexander Katai, didn't even make it into the starting lineup, never even made it in, never was subbed in. Is Pano sending a message there that he needs to put in more effort?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Because how does he not get into this lineup? How does he not get subbed in with the talent that he has? Is he just not working hard enough?
The replacement, the David Akam replacement that we brought in, isn't even playing.
And that's on Nelson. I don't blame Pano for making these calls. Pano said tough decisions are coming, and we're seeing those decisions, and I'm liking them.
He
wants to
anger to Pano has shifted to NR. I mean,
Nelson?
It's nice to see
Nelson.
Pano,
the general
making changes, tinkering, giving players, some younger guys, some options, and you saw that fight. So,
but he wasn't tinkering in a bad way, like he was tinkering with the last home match. I felt that was tinkering in a bad way when you had Ellis on that right side. This game, he put out the formation and the position players to win the match.
Last game, he had to fix it on the fly. Way different than fixing it on the fly versus planning and prepping. So, I mean, the starting 11 selection with this 3 in the back
was critical.
The player personnel in this three in the back system versus the other game was just much better. Much better. I mean, you had Drew on the outside. I like that. You had Ellis more as a center back and stuff. You had Ellis playing as a wing back. But anyways, James, I think we can end this here.
Yeah, that'll end
Any last thoughts for you?
No, that's about it. A good game. So glad we took those points. If we could take these points against Zlatan, we might right the ship a little bit and not be so worried going on into the next few games against Toronto and Atlanta, because those are our next opponents on the away docket.
Yeah.
Be ready for those. Those are going to be really good games. Hopefully the Fire can go into both of those places and compete.
Yeah.
Next week we got Zlatan. Can't wait. Excited. It's going to be great. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the conversation, give us a like. Check us out on Twitter at JGryFireGuy and at FireEngine97 on Twitter. Always join the conversation at CF97. Our little brother Austin, thanks for coming in. Thanks for going to the game.
Thank you for letting me on here for just one episode.
Yeah, no worries. All right, guys, have a great one. Have a wonderful weekend.
See you guys.
Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you guys later.
Go Fire.
Go Fire.